Mr. Smith, would you lead us in invocation and pledge, please?
Father, thank you for this day that's been given. Live and enjoy. Thank you for all that you do for us. Thank you for our Grayson County citizens that have shown up tonight to see what's being done in the county. Thank you for our board of supervisors and how they serve. Help us to remember the reason for the season at this time of year too. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to remind everybody of the decorum of the meeting. The decorum is printed on your agenda. At this time, I will entertain a motion to amend the agenda.
Mr. Chair, a motion to amend the agenda to include a couple of items on the new business. One would be under board appointments with the adding of the resignation of Todd candidate from the EDA, and also adding the resignation of Philip Vaughn from the Planning Commission. And then the second item to be added under new business would be a resolution regarding a grievance procedure. And I understand Mr. Warrior has the details on that.
Yeah, so we have to, anytime you have a USDA grant.
Hang on just a second. I got a motion. I need a second.
Oh, sorry.
Any discussion?
Sorry about that. I apologize. Yeah, we have to adopt this resolution due to a USDA grant that we're hoping to obtain. And it's an internal grievance procedure based on the Rehabilitation Act. So it's a little bit of a formality, but something we have to adopt if we're going to receive these USDA funds.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Also, first item of business is a public hearing to receive public comments and consider input regarding the draft comprehensive plan in accordance with State Statute 15.2-2204 of the Code of Virginia. Ms. Black.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So in your board packet, I presented to you a very short synopsis of what we have been doing over the past 2 years. So the Planning Commission has been working on this probably since 2021. And we've gone through it little by little. We've gotten stopped and we've started. And so the biggest thing that we wanted to do was a request from a previous board member was to add a matrix back to the planning or to the comprehensive plan. So the Planning Commission took several months to establish the matrix. I can give you a brief overview of what the Planning Commission has done chapter by chapter. That kind of give you a timeline of what we've made changes to. Just know that this was a review and an update. This was not a rewrite. I do believe that the rewrite should come at our next cycle. That will take several years. I think it's time to actually do a complete rewrite. So we did a rewrite in 13, we did an update in 18, and we're doing an update in 24. I think it's probably time to actually sit down, do our due diligence, interview our community to find out exactly what we need to reflect as far as Grayson County's vision.
Well, I want to thank the Planning Commission for all their hard work into this. We had some discussion earlier. We had this last week, and we'd we've had our public hearing. There's nobody who wants to speak. So we're likely going to table this till next meeting without hurting anybody's feelings. If that's okay.
All right.
So at this moment, I'll entertain a motion to come out of public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. We'll entertain a motion to table the comprehensive plan adoption until the following meeting.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
I assume Ms. Black will be back to answer questions then.
Yeah, and if there are things that I need to be looking at prior to the meeting, I would just ask, but
Let you know.
let me know, that way I can at least have you some good answers and, good data.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Black.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Next item of business is a public hearing to receive public comment regarding text amendment to the Grayson County subdivision ordinance concerning the regulation of cemeteries as authorized by state statute 15.2-2285 of the Code of Virginia.
So moved. For public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Again, I'll put you a synopsis in there, how we got here. So just to debrief, just to kind of go over it for the record. I had been challenged numerous times about, receiving family cemeteries. I get the calls all the time. Can I bury my loved one on my property? Call the health department. We really didn't have any guidance in our ordinances that would say yay or nay. But what I have ran into is, if a family member wanted to subdivide out a parcel for their family cemetery, that's technically was taking away a single division of their land. Justifiably, I did not think that was fair. They might need that single division somewhere else. So basically, I've been approving them as is. I just, at this point, I'm trying to make them this language, adding it in there will make this correct, basically. State code allows family cemeteries on private properties. Don't necessarily have to have an ordinance for it based on the code 57-26, but I feel like what we need to do as a county, if we allow the family cemeteries, we need to at least identify those family cemeteries. Granted, by code, you have to have access, ingress, and egress to family cemeteries or cemeteries at all. Giving them the ability to establish that 30-foot right-of-way would allow vehicles to access that property, and you wouldn't have to walk in. There might be a need for emergency services at a cemetery, and at least having that access to that cemetery was the thought process of the planning commission. The other thing for historical and just for purposes of being able to do research, having that family cemetery named and recorded in the plats back here in the clerk's office would help identify any of those family cemeteries in the future once we're all gone and somebody's doing some kind of genealogical research. That was the thought process. Basically just carving those out, making them exempt, leaving that single division alone, making sure they had a right of way in and that they were recorded properly.
So in essence, this would make it easier for families to have.
Absolutely, yeah. Just identifying where they are,
Mhm.
because most of the time, as we've known, family cemeteries grow up and nobody really knows where they are unless they're starting to do the research on them.
Is this for any new cemetery?
Yeah, this would be for new, nothing post.
Right.
So the ones that we discussed, the ones that currently exist, they don't have to build a right of way or,
No, by law, they have to allow people to come across their property to get to those cemeteries. So this would just be kind of shoring that up,
That they have a right of way.
that they do have a right of way.
I had received one call on this, and this was from the Historical Society with concerns. But you had,
I shared that information with Ms. Vaughn.
Yeah,
And she thanked me and kind of agreed. My email, she responded back was she agreed what we were trying to do. Is just to be able to capture that information and so that it's there for future use.
that was my take on it. I just want to make sure she had contacted you, because I told her from what I had read and everything, it did appear to be, an advantage.
The other thing that I will say that this has been vetted by our county attorney, and he did go through and verify, make sure that what we had here was legal.
and this may not be in your lane, but is there any tax advantage to a family developing a cemetery on their own property?
I do believe they do identify them with tax map numbers, and I do believe that they are not taxed for that little section. You can't have any more than 2 acres though, according to the state code. You
For a
could,
private cemetery?
for a private
A
cemetery,
large
yeah.
family cemetery.
Family cemetery.
So we're essentially adopting state code.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
Thank you, Ms. Black. I don't think we have any speakers for this, so at this time I'd entertain a motion to go out of public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Motion to adopt. Mr. Chair, I make a motion to adopt the ordinance as presented by the planning commission.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I've got one more thing, Ms. Black. The 30-foot easement only applies to new cemeteries. There is no,
And the reason that we did the 30 is because everything else requires 30. So new residentials are 30, road frontage is 30. So that in essence is really emergency services width that the subdivision ordinance and the zoning ordinance already have in it.
seems like to me it'd be a deterrent for somebody wanting to put in a family cemetery if they had to put a full legal 30-foot right of way in it so people could cross drive on their property.
Does it have to be surveyed?
Just
You
needs
can
to be, just needs to be said it's there.
Okay.
So you're not gonna go out and measure if it's
I'm not
29
gonna.
feet?
Sir.
Mr. Boyer, does this require a roll call for an ordinance?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
You need,
Any more discussion?
you need to read it, or you can waive the reading of this.
We can waive the reading and listen.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Ash?
Aye.
Mr. Cornell?
Aye.
Ms. Thomas?
Aye.
I'm also aye.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Black. Okay, next item of business is a public hearing to receive public comments regarding text amendments to the Grayson County zoning ordinance concerning the regulation of newly developed campgrounds and RV parks as authorized by state statute 15.2 Tac 2285 of the Code of Virginia. Ms. Black. Oh,
You might as well just stay up there.
let me get a motion.
I would make a motion to go into public hearing. Sure.
Second.
I have a motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ms. Black.
Again, another synopsis in your board packet for you to review. Just to highlight it, basically this came down from our last campground special use permit application that the planning commission received. We realized then that the planning commission didn't have enough information in the zoning ordinance to be able to justify a campground. So at minimum, we decided that we would just require minimum requirements for acreage, the standards, the road access, property management, and then the sanitary requirements. All of this sanitary requirements go back to Virginia Department of Health. And then we sit down and we have at length conversations for a couple of months on the minimum requirements for the acreage, the density, making sure that it had road access in and out of the properties or of your campground. And so the county attorney has also vetted this language, made some changes at his request to clarify what campsites were, their sizes, just for clarity purposes. We changed lots and sizes to campsites so that it matched the state. And those definitions that are in this proposed language they come right out of the state code. So we've added the interior roads so that they have that 30-foot right of way established by deed. One thing that we did add is to be able to have those minimum setbacks between each campsite, and that health and safety is taken into account. And so that we have something to base these campgrounds on, whether they're primitive or whether they're RV, these are for newly developed campgrounds. Most of the time when a developer wants to do something like that, they bring the planning commission a plat with identifying marks, setbacks, we can see all of that stuff. And so that was the reason that we chose to go with plans that would be done in accordance with whatever designer felt as far as the size or scale goes based on the magnitude of the campground. So identifying all of these needs on a plat that the planning commission can actually review and bring to you for consideration. So that's where these particular elements came from.
Mr. Chairman, no one signed up, but I think Mr. Boyer has one citizen that sent written comments.
Can you read this?
Please.
Yep. Okay, stated December 11th to the County Board of Supervisors. I reviewed proposed amendments as presented to the Planning Commission. Here's my comments. For clarity, the amendments should include a statement of adoption of statutory provisions, incorporate the laws of the state of Virginia as contained in Title 31, pertaining to campgrounds and all provisions of Virginia Department of Health rules and regulations governing campgrounds. See such statement in the ordinance on page County Chapter 128 Campgrounds. Amendments 3-1, 1.32 campsite size. The proposed campsite size and width does not distinguish between developed sites such as for RVs and primitive campsites. 3,000 square feet is excessive in either case, being far more than what is required by state code for developed sites. Primitive camping is typically dispersed within a designated area, not assigned specific sites, and would best be regulated by specifying the number of primitive units allowed per acre. Regarding parking spaces, primitive sites by definition do not allow for at-site parking. Parking is a communal parking area. Why is this amendment necessary, and how were the size and width specifications arrived at? In fact, arrived at arbitrarily. Amendments 3-1, 1.3.2 should be deleted from the proposed text amendments. Amendments 3-11.36E, site development. The requirement that the site plan be drawn up by an architect, surveyor, or engineer is unreasonable and necessary, and it will prevent entry into the space by small operators due to the associated expenses. This flies in the face of the county's comprehensive plan, which addresses the need for development and support small businesses, particularly in western Union County. Multiple of the items required to be included in the professional drawn-up site plan are outside the purview of those professionals. Regarding written acknowledgement of plan, review, feedback, and recommendations for safety by the Sheriff's Department and Emergency Management, is this required of all the businesses in the county, if not, why only campgrounds? Is this language part of any other county ordinance? What objective criteria will the Sheriff's Department and Emergency Management use in conducting plan reviews and making recommendations for safety? Will following the recommendations of the Sheriff's Department and Emergency Management be required of getting a campground permit? To my knowledge, Sheriff's Department and Emergency Management do not have any specific training and justifies being involved in the review of campground site plans. Why are the basic standards that these reviewers must, what are the basic standards that these reviewers must agree? Given the concerns and problematic elements noted above, Amendment 3-11.3.6.e should be deleted from the proposed text amendments.
Who's the author of that?
Yeah.
Miss Diana Goodman,
She a resident?
White Top.
Okay, that's it. I entertain a motion to come out of public hearing.
So moved.
Second. Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, so we need to just require board action, approval, adoption, or denial. Entertain a motion of y'all.
Well, I think, well, I don't know if there's a want to discussion yet, since we're in the motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt for discussion purposes at this time.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mine would be that, prior to creating this ordinance, the county doesn't have any kind of baseline. there's always room for amending or adjusting ordinances as situations arise and if there's a need seen with, I think probably the development of some of these camp areas and stuff. It does need to be some kind of guidance, would be my opinion.
Yep, I would agree with that, and one point I just want to clarify is primary access roads shall meet Virginia Department of Transportation entrance requirements. And I don't see it in here, I may be missing it, but I just want to ensure that state road frontage is required.
Yeah,
Because I think that's very important.
it is important, and those VDOT would be, with, depending upon the size and the traffic in and out, will either determine whether it's a low volume or a high volume.
And then, then they have to have a turn lane.
Yeah.
So. And the other thing is this, just like the cemetery, this is moving forward. This is not retroactive to anything we have currently.
We do not have any guidance documentation to be able to review or make good suggestions to a developer. We have that in our subdivision ordinance. We're creating parcels for residentials. We've got all of that. This was never talked about, and so as we move forward, our tourism continues to grow. I feel like, these are going to be popping up here and there. And so giving this guidance will help us make better determinations to be able to present to you.
I agree with Supervisor Hash that we need some sort of guidelines to go on. Was there a portion of it? I didn't see anything that seemed to be contradictive to the comprehensive plan, but I haven't needled through it, so.
Not that I'm aware of. I know we talk about small development, business development, and I don't feel like that's too much of an ask.
I don't either.
I mean, we're looking at the safety of
The visitors.
your renters and making sure that they have ease access in, that fire safety has been accounted for, and that we know how to get out in the event of a fire, and emergency access can actually get there. I do know the conversation about emergency management, just an overview. It's basically just an recommendation to the planning commission. No one is doing any recommending for approval or denial. It's nothing more than just hey, look at this. Is there anything that we're missing? As far as the sheriff's department goes, I was in a meeting where we are trying to get to become a certified crime prevention. That this was a request by the sheriff's department that in these new developments, hey, can I look at these just so that I can make sure that if you don't see something, maybe I do. Maybe you need to light this area, just for safety purposes. And those are just strictly recommendations that would be coming from the sheriff's department and emergency management.
Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, anytime we're doing more regulations and all that, my flags go up.
Sure.
So what prompted the lady that read the letter? I'm not familiar with, I hadn't seen the letter, but could you address some of her questions, like what prompted this and her concern that we don't have, qualified people doing this? And I'm not, you may be qualified. I'm just going by her letter, what we were read. I thought, well, that's interesting. I wish she was here to ask those questions, but.
So what prompted it was just the fact that Ms. Goodwin had presented to the planning commission a primitive campground. And in that request, the planning commission denied it based on just not having enough detailed information to be able to present. So of course we presented it to the board of supervisors and it was denied as well. So that was the point of, hey, we probably need to entertain an idea of making sure that when these campgrounds come back up, we've got a guidance document to be able to provide for adequate campgrounds. That's all that was. Do I have,
You're good.
I mean, the county attorney vetted it and it was,
Yeah, that come back to my memory, I'm sorry. So I see the need, still have the flags, but I see the need.
And when we start this process of looking at this ordinance?
September. We went through September, August, and then November, we held the public hearing.
Okay. I'm good.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right. Where are we? Got a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Mr. Ash.
Aye.
Mr. Ash. Aye. Mr. Correct.
Aye.
Ms. Thomason.
Aye.
I'm also aye. Thank you, Ms. Black.
Thank you
All right, next thing on the agenda is reports, presentations, or requests. If Ms. Finzi and Ms. Mitchell would come to the podium, please.
And we'll bring Miss Adams. I'm going to speak because Miss Mitchell has lost her voice due to the thing. So I am Sandy Benzie. I am a board member of the Grayson Regional Library, and as a trustee, as Susan is, we're here to introduce Amy Adams, who's just joined us, and we're thrilled, delighted, so happy. She came with an excellent resume. She's from Clarksville, West Virginia, which I've never been to, so I'm sorry. And we're really excited about what can happen.
Thank you. Welcome to Grayson County.
Thank you.
We're excited.
Thank you. Yes.
And glad you're from a mountain.
Yes. She really knows she'll fit in. We were
Yes.
thrilled. She's even been to White Top.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm sure you will work well with her. Thank you.
Okay, brings us to the next budget, agenda item, which is old business. We have none. New business, by your budget dates are in your calendar. There was some discussion earlier about we might need to change one of the times. But the public hearing for the budget will be held at a regular Board of Supervisors monthly meeting. Next item is we have board appointment there.
Yeah, just any questions? I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, he is absolutely correct. Just want to make sure we're good with 3 o'clock times on these. Check your dates and see if there's anything that's going to cause issues for you, so we can get the counter posted. When does it need to be posted out?
The calendar.
Yeah, the budget calendar.
The budget calendar, we usually have it up the
First
first
of
day.
January. So if you get an opportunity to look at those dates to see if there's, if not, obviously we can modify, but we'd like to get that out. Okay.
Tell you what, well, let's just stick in line. Board appointments, believe we have 2 to appoint on the EDA, and we have 1 on the planning commission.
On the planning commission. I do not have a recommendation for either EDA for Providence or the planning commission for Providence yet. To some people. One on this, on the district, well, you want to stick on the EDA right now while we're on it?
Yeah, we've got 2 appointments, you said on that?
Yeah, Mr. Cannon.
We got 1 in the Providence district and 1 in the Elk Creek district.
Yeah, so, yeah, Todd reached out to me, of course, we already and all that, but, I've got someone interested in that. If we want to go ahead with that.
We can appoint half.
He's already submitted his application, but then we did some jimmying around with how we were doing appointments. And, so anyway, he can fill that vacant spot.
What's his name?
Roger Rose.
Roger Rose.
His application stuff was in our packet months ago.
Yeah.
Or I guess about a year ago now.
It's been a while,
But,
we can either,
he lives in Elk Creek.
we can if you have, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, I apologize.
No, I'm just gonna say, he lives in Elk Creek. I don't know if y'all remember looking through the packet and seeing his application, but he's retired, Navy veteran. I think we'd be a good fit, but if y'all wanna wait, we can.
I think it's up to the board. If you want to get familiar, we can resubmit his application to the board. You can review that. If you're ready to go now, is there any issues with? It's up to the board, obviously, if you want to wait, or if you want to give Mr. Hash some time to find someone, we can do them both at the same time. Those are the options, I would say.
Did you talk to him
I
recently?
talked to him before the meeting, yeah,
Okay.
because I just learned about this afternoon, so I called him and he was agreeable. But if you wanted to wait and see, you guys want to review his application, whatever, that's fine.
Well, what's
Whatever pleasure
what's
you
going
guys-
on the planning commission?
Philip Bond.
Philip Long.
And I have,
And that's from your.
and I have one on the planning commission who's expiring, but he wants to continue. If that's okay, I'm good with him to continue. Charlie Ward, he's been on there for a term or so, but he seems to be pretty engaged, so.
Well, you're not ready for that either, planning commission. If it suits the board, let's just do all three of them next month.
Now, okay, ready to move on to, I've got one here to continue about.
Sorry.
On the District 3 governmental cooperative, I'm willing to serve on that again. I've spoken to Liz, which is in your district. I don't know that that's not a district specific.
Right.
But anyway, I have spoken with Liz. She's willing to.
Get your back as well. Yeah, I think that looks good.
The other question is the Building Inspection Board of Appeals. Looks like we have 3 people expiring. I'm not sure how many people's on that board, but we probably won't have a quorum in January if it's needed. So do we need to take action on that now?
My understanding is the building official makes a recommendation on those. I have not received a recommendation. Did you get anything, Linda, on those? Based on technical experience, knowledge, and background, and I have not received anything.
And no, I've not received anything either. They are lucky to meet once a year. It's only if they absolutely have to, if they have an appeal.
Okay. So
I'll reach
we'll
out.
wait till you.
How about
Check
this? I'll
those
reach-
individuals.
we can do those at the same time if we're doing them next month with Mike.
Well, do we need to do anything? I guess we need to reappoint Charlie on the planning commission. I mean, he's already been on
Well,
there.
I mean, there's several in here that just mean if we wait and everybody get their stuff,
That's
we'll
fine.
do it.
I don't guess.
We got a whole page of those that we need.
Okay.
But if y'all want to vote on something now, doesn't matter.
So if the District 3 were both still willing to serve, and Sandy left, but I believe with Grayson Regional, we're both, actually, I don't know. I'll have to check with Sandy. She did mention that her term was expiring. Have you heard anything from
Our
Sandy?
homework between now and
Yeah.
January board meeting is to get,
I just know in January, we're gonna have a lot on our plate. That's what I was thinking. Anything we could knock off today would be,
Some of these don't meet
Beneficial.
every month, though.
but, don't expect me to be like anything else. That's fine. That was my thoughts, Mr. Chairman.
I can't make a motion. So
Right.
make
You
one,
entertain them.
make one to appoint the,
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we continue the appointment of
Yeah.
Charlie Ward to the planning commission.
that he stays on.
Yeah. He just renews his term.
Motion on the table.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also aye. Okay, we have a resolution. We actually have 2. I'm gonna waive the reading on them, but the resolution that we talked about at the beginning of the meeting was adopting an internal grievance procedure. And The next one is a resolution of support of Blue Ridge Parkway. I don't have that one right in front of me yet. Yeah, there it is. Blue Ridge Rising along Blue Ridge Parkway. They're applying for funds and we need to have a resolution in support of that. Do anybody want to have it read?
How long is it?
It's a little long. I'll give you real quick. They're recruiting community members to become Blue Ridge Rising ambassadors. They're working closely with Appalachian Regional Commission to secure a large multi-million-dollar grant. And they're talking with foundation funders to help match the grants. They're working with state and commonwealth legislators and the governor's administrators to explore opportunities for state level funds to serve as part of the match as well. So it's not a requirement for local funding dollars.
Who are they? You said they.
This is a Blue Ridge
Rising.
Blue Ridge Rising.
But who is that?
About a year ago to 2 years ago, it was a coalition formed between different counties that are on the Blue Ridge Parkway. I know when I was chair, I got invites to these, and they were just a discussion of initiatives that counties along the Blue Ridge Parkway should take as far as encouragement for tourism or advertising, things like that. It was kind of things, they were kind of a think tank is how I took it, for creating anything that benefited the Blue Ridge Parkway area or corridor. That's basically what the group is.
So it's an NGO organization to seek grants for.
And they're applying for a grant and need support from the county.
Yeah, and it's basically made up of county reps and then I guess Department of Interior reps too, along with the Blue Ridge Parkway.
And a motion to, well, we can't do them together. Resolution requires roll call. They don't. Well, entertain a motion to adopt. what
This resolution does?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, all resolutions.
I thought this one was different for some reason. Okay, my fault. Apologies.
Entertain a motion to adopt the resolution, Grayson, internal grievance procedure implemented.
So,
Second.
Have a motion and a second in discussion.
and you said this was just, the grievance is just because of the grant we're trying to get.
That's correct.
USDA.
Mr. Anderson.
Aye.
Mr. Ash.
Aye.
Mr. Cornett.
Aye.
Ms. Thomas.
Aye.
I'm also aye. So I'll entertain a resolution to support Blue Ridge Rising.
So moved.
Motion second in discussion. Mr. Anderson.
Aye.
Mr. Ash.
Aye.
Mr. Cornett.
Aye.
Ms. Thompson.
Aye.
Chair's also aye. Okay, next thing on the agenda is Public Works Convenience Centers.
No sign up, thank you for that.
Public comment on it.
You signed up for public comment, which comes after this.
But this is what I was wanting to talk on.
I know this isn't a public hearing, it's just on the, you'll get your chance to talk about it.
But y'all done make your decisions before I have a chance to talk. According to this, right?
Yeah, Mr. Board.
Yeah, we'll make a decision. Well, they may not, they may table it. I'm not saying they'll make a decision. We're going to talk about it right now. So I'll give you the kind of overview of this. So you have we've had some discussions on the community center over the last 6 months, I would say. As you know, the Public Works Department is still running in a deficit, and the community center costs about $55,000 a year. The town of Independence has made the decision that effective January, they are going away for using the county as their public works. That's about a loss of $79,000 for the county. What we don't know is how many folks will use the will they sign up for GFL or will they use the convenience center as an alternate? So we don't know the answer to that. So we don't know what the increased cost to the county will be. But we certainly can assume that there will be some increased cost in tipping fees and what would happen with that. So that's kind of the data points I would say that we know at this point. We have a service that we're running a deficit. We're losing additional revenue in that service. Jonathan was in here, I think a couple months ago, and made a recommendation on the convenience center. So I'm just bringing it to the board to let you know if the board decides now not to take action, we'll have to have some other thoughts and discussions about budget reductions or tax increase probably in the coming year, because it's just additional $79,000 in loss of revenue for public works. Does that help kind of set the stage for it?
Yes, thank you.
And I would say one additional thing, as you know, we got hit with Hurricane Helene, and the county leaned in to try to help clean up, and that cost us about an extra $40,000 so far this year.
So are we just having an open discussion before we get a motion?
Yeah, I think we have to have a
We don't even
motion.
have to have a motion.
Oh, okay.
We need to.
We just go, okay. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I'm prepared to make a motion. I would like to make a motion to do away with the convenience center. Appreciate a second, and then for the opportunity for discussion on this issue.
Second.
Okay. My thoughts on it is that, we've already been approached over the last couple of years by Public Works that this venture was not running in a positive manner as far as the cost that it was taking. Plus, given light of the situation in Independence right now, I don't know that we have an ability or we'd be tasked with putting somebody out there to monitor the use of this convenience center, which I feel personally, I've never used it, and I've had conversations with people in my district that say that, they don't use the service. It's mainly a service that is used for people in the general area of Independence, and that it's not something that's utilized by the entire county. Now, given myself, if I had extra garbage and stuff or large items, given my location, I'd just go on to the landfill, and if that was a big issue, as far as stuff that you could put out on a weekly basis in front of your house, given the amount of trash that we're already allowed to put out, 40-pound bags, 4 bags, I would never see the need for me to come to Independence to use that service. That's me, and I think that's the thinking of a lot of people. But given the situation we have where Independence has decided to go with another paid service, I don't know how we monitor that. Doing where we were going to have individuals come and purchase stickers. Then there's another cost to the county to set up that process. And, then who's there at the collection site to monitor those stickers every time. I had another thought. But, and then considering putting convenience centers in the different districts, if you're going to put one to try to make it fair and equal to the people in the different communities. I mean, if this is costing us more than what we can afford, there's definitely no way that we can take this service to each individual district and provide that service for the people, because it's going to cost more than what we're paying here in Independence. That's my opinion on it, but I'm one person, so listen to
Oh,
everybody else.
I would agree with you. When we had our budget meetings and we discussed public works and the deficit there, I really, if it's an area that I'm not extremely familiar with, I rely on those people who are either in that field or experts in that. And we spoke with Mr. Looper, and I feel like we visited Public Works, and I feel like those guys up there are some of the hardest working people in the county. And if they say that it's not worth it to the county and to Public Works, at some point it kind of just sounds like you have to stop the bleeding. If we're losing 79,000, we know our center costs us 50,000. Helene cleanup is 40, that's $169,000, which 50 of that's probably already accounted in that deficit, but still, that's money the county doesn't have. So I just feel like, we're losing the 79,000. I feel like we kind of owe it to our citizens to cut the costs. And I know when I asked about it, because I actually made mention of closing the convenience centers at one of the budget meetings and asked kind of why we were still doing them. Just ignorance, I didn't know. And it's apparently the last time the motion was made to close them, there was extreme opposition, but it seemed like it was from a relatively small group of residents. Is that fair to say?
As I recall, it was from residents all over the county. It wasn't just from one area. But I'll touch on that here in just a minute.
But I just feel like it's adding, like you said, it's adding to our budget. That money's got to come from somewhere. So I'm in favor of stopping the bleeding.
Yeah, I think the town of Independence town limit sign, you could probably throw a rock from where the dumpster's sitting and hit it. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me if the town of Independence is not supposed to use it. And if we don't have some kind of system, as Supervisor Hash was talking about, it would be used by the town, the county be paying for it. And that's just getting into a lot more of a headache. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. The one thing of the people that did use the convenience center, a lot of them told me their valid argument seemed to be, we have a big family, we use more than 4 bags of trash. So we use both. So on that, I would ask Public Works do we have room on our trucks on the routes to increase that bag limit if it's a must, because that trash, we fill up a dumpster too out there. So that trash is probably going to be picked up by us in the trash truck. So I just want to ensure that on the regular route, we'll be able to pick those up. And I would probably be in favor of increasing the bag limit, maybe to 6. And I know they're lenient with that sometimes anyway.
They are.
But that way it would help everybody in the entire county, not just Independence area. People in White Top and Freeze everywhere could just get 6 bags of trash taken away. They wouldn't have to haul it anywhere.
But, so the contract agreement with the town is definitely a game changer here. But there's a few things. I've been on this board, this is my 3rd year. And for the first 2 years, prior to the new administration, we were pretty much told that the Public Works was break even. It was one of the only departments in the county that was break even. I heard that over and over, and I was pretty proud of that fact. Then, right as I came on the board, they had closed, the month before, they closed the convenience centers. There was some outrage from all over the county. It wasn't just small area. And we revisited it and we opened it back up. The 55,000, 50,000, whatever it is that they say that it costs every year, there's also some benefits that's not factored into that, like the tipping fee. I know there's a truck that runs, but that trash is going to Carroll County one way or the other. Whether a citizen brings it out there and throws it in a dumpster or they set it out on the side of the road. So, and there's gas either way. The thing that I see when I think about that aspect of it is when it's on the garbage truck, it's compacted, and that we get more for less on our fuel. But anyway, I digress on the cost. I just challenged the notion that it costs $55,000 more a year. But having said that, I've talked with citizens all over the county that utilize that facility, whether they're in Wilson District or they're in Old Town District. Now, I would suggest that we may consider something different. We just increased, as a board, we just increased our fee to the citizens. And now we're gonna decrease on what we're offering. Okay, so I would like to see us add into this that we put a dumpster in the Old Town District one Saturday a month, the Providence District the next Saturday, the Elk Creek District the next Saturday, and the Wilson District the next Saturday. It's 4 Saturdays out of the month. The months that you have a 5th Saturday, we don't have a dumpster out. And that way, every citizen in the county would have access, or 2 dumpsters, whatever it may be. And if you live in Wilson and you're really urgent to throw some trash out and it's in Fairview, you can still drive to Fairview, because we've had people drive from Fairview to Independence. We've had people drive from White Top to Independence on occasion. It's not convenient. And I would suggest that we keep it open until 2 p.m. instead of 12 p.m. and have it each month. And I don't know, I haven't looked at the cost analysis on that, but I think that's something we could make work. Because if we're going to offer service, we either offer service or we don't. I'm not in favor of expanding, more government and all the things we got to do, but this is a can of worms that's been opened up years ago, and we're still here dealing with it. The game changer here for me is the town pulling out. Because we can't keep that open out there and let everybody in town throw their trash out and let the county citizens, the ones that don't live in town, pick up the bill. So I get that. I don't know if we could, amend our motion or we can make a recommendation or what, but I feel like we need to have another alternative. That's just my suggestion.
Regarding the dumpsters in the different localities, I've been to the dumpsters that are put out and we have holidays and stuff like that. And you're not getting kitchen trash and stuff like that. You're gonna have to have somebody manning those dumpsters at those locations all day long. Or if you're gonna do it over a weekend or something, you're gonna have somebody, because I go down, the Wildlife Club is near me, and I'll go down there, and by the afternoon, late afternoon, there's mattresses, there's car tires, there's rims, there's old entertainment centers, stuff like that. You're not getting the trash. People abuse it. I mean, and not saying everybody does that, but you're talking about a fee for having somebody sit there and man those dumpsters the whole time that you're in those communities. That's the only problem I see.
Well, we've got somebody manning the dumpsters out here. So it would be the same thing. We're just adding a couple hours to not necessarily him, but whoever's day, keeping them open until 12 or till 2 instead of 12. So we currently have somebody manning the dumpsters out here. So that's the same, that would be a carryover cost. I guess where it would weigh in would be picking up that dumpster at 2, 3 o'clock
Are they hourly or
and bringing them back.
On Saturdays now.
hourly, so it would be more cost to the county?
Is that why the trash truck runs the house to house every day? What's the week?
If it were, like if you were in Old Town or you were in Providence, you might not want to keep it open till 2. I'm just throwing this out here. You might want to keep it open till 1 so they can just take it on once they load up the dumpster. At the end of the day, just take it on to, because the landfill's open till 2, I'm understanding, right, on Saturday?
So what you're proposing is take a dumpster, so we have to have somebody take the dumpster at a certain time in the morning, Saturday morning, and then pick it up sometime in the afternoon.
Or they
And then
just stay
somebody
with it
can
and
stay with it.
yeah, they take it on, and
That wouldn't be a part-time employee.
that would, Well, I think we need to think it through
I
and come up with a
appreciate that, yeah.
solution. Cause we're increasing fees and decreasing service. That's my take.
I'd be more inclined to go with Mitchell's idea, maybe on the limit,
Number of bags, I agree.
maybe at least one bag or something like that. But,
We would need to talk to
compensate.
Jonathan to see if the trucks currently are at capacity or if they could I mean, I think they would be able to handle it from what he has
I
said.
hope so, because if not,
They're already doing it,
there's
just to be
there's
nice.
two roll-off dumpsters full of trash out there, so I don't think people are just gonna quit making that much trash. They're gonna put it in the trash can, we're gonna have to pick it up. So I hope he's taking that into account, that, yeah, our trucks will fit that on.
Mhm.
Well, I rode on the back of that truck when I first came on the board, and those guys, and you're right, they are very hardworking guys, but they use a little bit of common sense. One lady may have 5 little bags out, the next lady may only have 1.
Mhm.
So they kind of understand that they can use common sense.
Yes.
But when you go out to the convenience center, common sense is out the window. If you've got 4 bags, because I know, I'm just sharing this incident, I know 2 guys rode together down here to save gas, and they both had 4 bags. And they wouldn't let one of them throw 4 bags out because they were in the same vehicle. And one guy had to take it back to Wilson. And so I guess common sense doesn't rule at the dumpsters. But I'm just saying that to say this: we've offered a service, we've increased the fee, now we're cutting service. And I think it would be good if we could, in this way, would accommodate everyone in the county. If we could figure that out. I don't have, like I said, I don't have all the numbers to run on that, but I think it could be figured out.
I think the bag number increase, because if we are gonna increase the fee, we could make it fair enough for them to put out more trash if need be.
I think they are very liberal with
Mhm.
how they do this, and as Mr. Anderson pointed out, they do use, they use their best judgment. But we have to be careful not to get into a large item pickup every week. That's extremely taxing on our folks. And if you're not familiar, if you haven't been with them, we have a very hard time keeping employees in public works.
Yes.
And we're short 2 folks right now. Just picked up one. It's a challenge keeping our drivers and everybody based on how we operate. So I think if the board decides to close the community center, we'll try to come up with some additional solutions. I certainly have to talk to Jonathan about it. I guess we have to look at the ordinance on this to change that. The trash bag, the bag limit. Yeah.
No, the bag limit's in there, in the one.
It probably is. I'm pretty sure it is.
I've seen it somewhere.
I've read it.
So we would have to change that if the board wants to change that piece. We can provide, if the board decides to do this, we can try to come up with some additional options that may be more conducive to supporting the rest of the county besides one portion of the county, if that's what you're asking.
And this may be the beginning of the end, to think about a long-term solution. I know everybody just paid their fee for this, but.
We're picking up trash next year, I'm telling you.
Yeah, so we may need to revisit. This might look like a good idea 30 years ago, but it doesn't look like a good idea today. I think it's a great service. I think for what folks get, it's excellent. But I think from the county perspective and all the other priorities that we have, we may have to figure something out. But that'd be for another board to attack, I'm sure.
I'm in favor of looking at other options also, because anytime the government's doing something that a private business could do, I'm always in favor of looking to see if they could provide the same service for cheaper cost to the citizens. Take liability off the county, just a comment.
Well, I think that the Public Works does a great job of keeping Grayson County clean. Having the convenience center it's really convenient for those few amount of people in the county. And I had some of those same calls, Mr. Anderson, from the West End saying leave it open. But at this point, with the city dropping out already at a $55,000 deficit, I'm inclined to close the convenience center, but I know this is gonna come back up. We have to figure out a solution, and my biggest fear is that by closing it, we start seeing trash on the sides of the roads and ditches, and that's, so anyway, that's my spiel. Any more discussion?
I agree, and that's a concern too, I didn't mention is, we may, because right now, what happens if someone goes county administrator and says, hey, there's like 20 bags dumped out here on the side of the road,
It happens every week.
we get somebody to go get it.
Yeah, sometimes.
So I don't know if having one in each district once a month would help that or not. But I agree. And definitely the county pulling out's a game changer. I mean, the city, sorry. City, town, whatever.
Town.
Well, I know as a deputy sheriff, I dug through many a trash pile. I don't know, I guess those guys still do it, but it's part of the job. If they found and charged them with the illegal dump. And I know they were so charged through the years, illegally dumping.
I guess the next question would be, the motion's on the table to close it, correct?
Yeah.
So I guess the next question will be, is this effective immediately or is it effective December 31st, January 1st?
When's the new agreement?
January 1st, when the contract with GFL for the town goes into effect, so I would say 1st of January.
Could we be open to amend it after we, look at the numbers for that limit? Amend the motion or?
I thought the recommendation was to just tell them to use common sense. Because those guys they are already.
All right, just keep us on pace. We got a motion, we got a second. The motion is, can you repeat your motion?
The motion is to do away with the convenience center, so, and I'm good with that till, January 1.
Okay.
If that's good with.
We got a motion, we got a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Mr. Boyer, give us a brief administrator's report.
I heard the word.
Thank y'all.
You're supposed to speak.
You
I don't have to now.
You just gotta say it's-
Okay, I'll try to be brief, as Linda's staring at me here. All right, Louisville Lane update. A few quick talking points on Louisville Lane. Currently ahead of schedule and on budget, main line completion by 12/20. Expect field tests late December and start connections in January. As a reminder, we funded this with COVID ARPA money. And starting 12/17, we'll be moving away from hurt and profit to conduct inspections, and Danny Smith will be conducting the inspections. No significant problems, or we're not expecting any problems with this at this point in time. So if you have any questions, please have them call us and we'll work through it. Wellspring, as you all know, we got a donation from Wellspring, and we authorized checks to be mailed out to each volunteer organization this week. So each volunteer organization should be receiving checks in the amount of 28,000. Did somebody ask a question? Oh, I'm sorry. Each volunteer organization should be getting checks in the amount of $28,000 this week. We'll be addressing other needs as they come in. So if you have a nonprofit or an organization that is looking for help, if they reach out to you, please reach out to me and we'll try to address that. As I mentioned, our interactive playground, we have another meeting this week. I have a Zoom meeting on 12/19 with a marketing agency. I sent them the site details I sent the site details to the planning team, and I'm meeting with the sales rep and the planning team in January at the site. They did mail, or they sent us for a bench. They call it a buddy bench, as you most know. Alan put it together, and we're going to place that in the next 30 days. I had a meeting with Jim Worth and Kelly Wilmore on Monday. Jim offered to put a physician assistant and mental health counselor in the school for free. School's found space to do that, so that'll be helpful to school. Also be able to do some telehealth with that to the surrounding schools. He did let us know that he's going to close the Elk Creek telehealth clinic. They've only had one patient there over the last year, so he doesn't have the capacity to run that anymore. He did meet with the EDA, and he's made a decision to go ahead and establish a site and a pharmacy in Independence at the Hugh Chatham. What's the Chatham?
Yeah.
Hugh Chatham, yeah, it's Chatham building. Mitch, myself, Nikki attended the grand opening of the Recovery Hub in Galax that was put on by Vicky and Emily Carrico. That's really, that was funded by Virginia's Opioid Abatement Authority, and no tax dollars from the county were expended to start this up. Jed was there, the judges were there. I can't remember, all the county administrators, county officials were there, and about 100 people there to open up the hub. So good day. And they held a little bit of a court session in there, right? So it was nice for them.
Dismissed their charges.
Yeah. Debris cleanup, it seems to be going well. And we're shutting that down tomorrow on 12/13. Unless you've had any issues, any concerns, please let me know immediately so we can get those handled right away.
Is that going up here at this? I seen some garbage up there.
We'll be taking
I
care
guess you
of
probably got that.
Yeah, they'll be taking care of that. Yeah.
Somebody misunderstood, I guess.
Yeah. We got a reveal on the county website. Can you just, I know some of you don't have, your computers are down, but I'll give you a quick look at what our county website's gonna look like. Obviously, we put some time, effort, energy, thought, and, as a non-techie, trying to get this right for the counties. Can you move it around? You can see what it looks like. If you hit, you'll see, your different icons. You'll have your popular resources, your community events. There's a calendar on the bottom, frequently asked questions. You can create a count. The pictures are rotating, so each department will be able to, like if you go to go up for me, go to government. And if you go to where Jada, where you at? Planning, community development. You can go down from there. You'll see the resources there. We keep going down. So you can have applications and erosion. Right, the applications can be done online. We'll have billing online. Everything will be able to be done online. So I think it's, well spent money that we're going to be able to put out. All our information will be able to, easily accessible in there. So if you get a chance, play with it. There's a bunch of updates still to be done, and so we're working through those. I think I beat out about 15 the other day, so we're still working on it. Any questions on that?
Is that live now?
It's not live
Not
yet.
yet. It will be
Into January.
end of January.
It's the expectation. Okay. I talked to somebody. The Commission of Revenue had to purchase new software. The previous software is no longer supportable. The only two men that can support it are one's dead and one's almost dead. And it was software from probably, what's that? Stonewall. So I think it was built on a Commodore 64 or something like that. That's how old our software was. Yeah, we had so we used money from ARPA to update that. It was $80,000 for that software. But what I was saying is our GIS system and our tax tickets will be able to. You'll be able to put your tax tickets on your GIS system now. So when you pull up the GIS, you have your tax ticket. Yeah, so that'll be helpful for people. Spoke with AEP the other day, and they just hired 20 people in Grayson as a call center. These people will be able to work from home. $17 an hour is what they're going to pay them. And the benefit of having our middle mile fiber, and actually they're all AEP customers because AEP has high-speed internet, and so they've worked to find people who are willing to work out of their house, act as a call center. So it's 17 to 20 jobs that'll be happening in Grayson the next month. So
Have they already hired those people?
they're hiring now. Yeah, they're hiring now. Are you telling me to look for a job? Is that what you're saying?
No.
All right. What else do I have? I think that's about it, except for everybody knows our Grayson County football team has a big game on Saturday. So a lot of us went over to Rock Cove. It was a really impressive feat to beat a team that was bigger, stronger, faster, and they just weren't grittier and better coached than we were. So it was a big win for us. So we're all thinking about the boys and hoping everybody has a Merry Christmas. So since we won't see anybody, that's all I got, sir.
Okay. Next item of business on the agenda is public comment. We have two. Claire Richards If you would come up to the podium, state your name, address, and then you get 3 minutes and it'll be posted on the board.
Okay, I'm Clara Richards. I live at 494 Rock Creek Road here in Independence. And I'm here to talk about Rock Creek Road and Forest. My husband and I will live here almost 6 years in January. We were told Rock Creek was going to be widened, but that was taken off the plan. And just to give you a little backup, from Riverside Drive up to Reed Drive, it's paved. After that, to the end of Powerhouse, it's a dirt road. It's one lane. And anyway, then when you go from Reed Drive, there's a four-way intersection at Rock Creek and Silver Hill and Mystic. Well, when Helene came through, it destroyed the culvert. And there's a big, humongous hole there. If a car goes into it where they don't know they're on that road, they'll never come out of it. Now, your organization approved the quarry back in February of 22 with the restriction that the trucks coming out of the quarry had to make a right, go to Powerhouse. Not Powerhouse, to Riverside. They're making a left and coming all the way down this dirt road. It winds and bends. If a car meets it, or a pickup truck with a full loaded dump truck, you're going to have somebody killed. So, that's our one concern with that. There's holes all through Rock Creek Road, this dirt road. I counted one time there were 50 holes. And, it's not maintained at all. We've had 3 wrecks since we've been living there. One, the worst, was a truck went over the embankment between our house, which is between Reed and the Powerhouse, and Powerhouse. It went over the embankment, dumped its load. It took 2 rotator wreckers to pull it up on the road. The road was not passable for hours, and the debris is still down that embankment. It's there's 13 property owners that live on Rock Creek or Mystic that have to use Rock Creek to go and come to get out of the area. And it's a 1-lane road. There's no passing. You can't back up, because we talked to the state police. You cannot back up on a road. So if 2 cars meet, what are you supposed to do when you can't pass? So we're just asking you to do something with the quarry, because the trucks are destroying the road, totally destroying it. The embankment are falling over. They are not maintaining the road at all. And it's just a dirt 1-lane road.
Thank you, Mr. Richards. Mr. Richards, you're on here if you want. Your name's on here, so you can get your own 3 minutes if you want.
The biggest thing is backing down that road. You need a car and you gotta back up that road. It's illegal to back up anything. Now, any road, you're going like 20 feet, it's acceptable back into a driveway or something like that. You gotta back up 500 feet or more just to find a place to pull off. And if you have an accident, it's your fault. They told me that. You cannot back up. It's an illegal thing. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be widened. Somehow, even if it's on this plan that was forever already, just to fill the ditch in, rip rap or something, just so you can pass. It's bad enough that cliff is right there. Somebody's gonna really get killed. They are gonna get hurt bad with that cliff and trying to back all the way down. Because we did it one Sunday. And I said, you know what? Don't ever back up that road again. You stay straight, no matter what happens. If somebody else backs up, that's the thing. You cannot back up that road. It's a legal thing. So it needs to be fixed with the backing up. And the truck traffic, it's on your thing that you were supposed to have no left turn. And that's what it means. It's like I called and they said, oh, it was a left for Reed, Red Road or whatever it's called. Well, it's the whole thing. When you say no left turn, to pass an ordinance to put that in, it's no left turn. And they're coming right down there. We're like the third world down there. It's like MASH. It's just solid mud. It's a disaster, that road. And it's been, I think since last June or July, they've just scattered through there with the motor grader. And it's not really our responsibility to call to have that road fixed, containers, put salt down because it's so much dust. You can't see nothing, you know? It's not our responsibility. It's them. They're supposed to be checking after this hurricane. Nobody checking nothing. I took my own tractor out and filled out how many of them ditches in myself. Because I don't want to see somebody get hurt, you know, coming down through there. And it's not my responsibility. I don't want to see people get hurt, you know, on that. It's just upsetting. It really is super upsetting to see it like this.
I'm sorry, we're not allowed to talk to you during your.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, oh, okay. But you know, I mean, it was on your planning board that the trucks
Yeah,
weren't
you
supposed
approved
to make a left out of the quarry, and they just constantly go back and forth past us.
The sign's not even there anymore for that left turn thing outside that quarry. There should be a sign put on that, when that starts with that dirt road, no trucks. There should be something on that road to stop that truck traffic. You know, it should be something posted or not advisable, whatever it could be, you know, to put on there.
Thank you. Can we have somebody look at that,
Yeah, we need
please?
to look into that.
Well, you have a
I do.
lot of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
Thank
well, thank y'all for coming out.
Thank you.
thank you.
Sorry
Yeah,
it
we're
was
just
so
trying.
long.
Make a road request for that culvert also. The issue there.
Sounds like it just got overlooked.
Pardon me?
Mr. Boyer's gonna make a road request to MDOT to fix the culvert and work on that
Oh,
road.
yeah, that-
Yeah, it really needs to check.
I've had some-
It's real bad.
With the hurricane, I know MDOT's having a tough time.
Yeah, we understand.
I have another road in the western end of the county that the folks have been calling me a lot, and I've been staying on MDOT, emailing,
That road,
and they hadn't got to it yet, but we're staying on them as best we can.
yeah, that corner needs a catch basin. That's where it needs to fill that whole corner in. It's over 6 feet deep.
All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session. Closed session is to discuss personnel matter pursuant to statute 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia involving staff.
So moved.
We're gonna, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, let's take a 5-minute, 4-minute break.
That road was bad before that.
That's what I'm saying.
It's beyond that.
Yes.
It's just normal.
Yeah, that's fixed too.
No.
There's no ones.
They tell them that means
I backed up that road before. so
Oh,
I
you
know
do?
that.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I was happy with the cars right now. I was gonna get the cars now.
Wasn't here today, but I
Oh, I live in the street. Out from the- I live down-
There's some parts in your box.
Is there? No, I'll do them all.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Well, you're right about that sign. It was, I remember that discussion. about the traffic.
Well, I handed you guys copies of your minutes. It says right in there, sign and no left turns.
Well, you have a lot of people that are there.
Okay.
Yep.
You may have one or two.
I met the truck.
Thank you.
We live on that road.
Okay,
We
thank
never
you.
knew nothing. We didn't know.
I met a truck one day, I was coming back home, and he